Cause sandwiches are ready, forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we're just saying hi. Find somebody, rise up, weekdays, catch us live, somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you all are enjoying your Thursday. Hopefully it's a thriving one. Hopefully it kicks some serious ass. Man, what a Thursday. What a Thursday. And it's only just begun. You know what I'm saying? It's only the beginning. But we got a lot of things to talk about today. Man, do we have so much to talk about. Let me just say this really quick. Yesterday, I'm so angry that I did not get a chance to do any shows yesterday. I had some serious stuff going on, some business and all that. I was not able to be on yesterday. But I have to say, man, some serious ish went down yesterday of all kinds. We have a press briefing from 5-0, Houston's 5-0, talking about the AstroWorld stuff. We got some more information about what Travis Scott did, what he actually did after he stepped off that stage during the tragedy. Man, we have Kyle Rittenhouse on trial. He takes the stand, y'all, which is something that is unprecedented, something that is unexpected. But he went and took the stand yesterday, and he had some things to say. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, a whole bunch, and we're going to go through it together as a fam bam, okay? Because we got to go through it, unfortunately. You know what I mean? Because yesterday was epic. An epic day. So we're kind of doing a little bit of catch up. Lo siento to all the people who are pretty much going like, Pascal, where you at? Because I pretty much got a lot of that yesterday. Pascal, where you at? What happened, man? You should be covering this. And I'm like, I can't. I'm physically not even in anywhere near my office right now. So can't. But whoo, we got some things to talk about. We got my boy David in the house. What's good, man?
Man, everything's pretty good over here. Hi to everyone in chat. Well, this morning I found out that there was a uranium-laced rock about 150 miles away that I was in the danger zone for. Apparently, people were getting sick for it, but walked around my house with my Geiger counter, and there's no radiation here, thankfully. But people are getting sick from it, so it's kind of bad that they didn't notice this radioactive rock until yesterday when it's been there for like 2 weeks.
Whoa. Well, thank God you're okay. Thank God you're feeling good. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in the zone 1, but I'm just out. I'm in the zone 1 on the edge of the worst area, but I think it's because I'm in the valley instead of on top of the mountains. It just doesn't hit here, so I got no radiation detection around my house at all.
Son of a gun. Well, thank God you're okay. Thank God you are in one piece. I'm going to say this on behalf of David's health. Be sure to hit that like button. All right, send those likes all the way up. See how petty. See how like like how much of a bottom feeder I am right now. Hey, hit that like button for his health. Anyway, real talk. To send some good vibes to start off with your day, if we are your start of the day. Hit that like button down below. Send those likes all the way up, okay? And of course, do not forget to annihilate, nuke that subscribe button. It'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Now, here's the thing. Me and David are going to be butting heads here later on in the show. I'm just letting y'all know. I mean that in the nicest way possible, okay? I mean that in the nicest way possible, okay? But we tend to agree to disagree on some things that are going on revolving around certain subjects. What they are, we don't know. You never know. Just be sure to tune in and find out what we inherently disagree on in this conversation today. Okay, we got a lot of stuff to go through. There's a lot to talk about, so we got to jump right into it. Okay, so one of the stories that I wanted to put up, because there's a lot of recap. All right, some recap, some new news. Now we did talk about this young boy, 9-year-old Ezra Blunt. Okay, and I wanted to give you guys a quick update about this young boy. Now, he is fighting for his life. He is in a coma right now as we speak, due to him being a victim of this stampede that happened at AstroWorld Festival last weekend. And right now, this 9-year-old boy is still in a coma, fighting for his life. Now, I wanted to put this up because this is, I think it makes sense. It is justified, and they should sue the pants out of AstroWorld, Travis Scott, or any entity or company that was involved with this festival. Family of 9-year-old left in coma after AstroWorld files lawsuit against Travis Scott and promoters. Okay, so the family of the 9-year-old boy who is clinging for his life after being crushed at Friday's AstroWorld concert in Houston filed a lawsuit against Travis Scott and concert promoters Thursday. Ezra Blunt from Tyler, Texas, was trampled nearly to death by other concert goers, leaving him in an induced coma on life support. So now that's the piece I didn't know, that he was on life support, but this young boy is on life support. Okay. Go ahead, David. You were going to say?
I was going to say there's another new individual that is now brain dead because of what happened
We
there.
are going to get there.
Okay.
We are going to get there. 1 second. Okay. Blunt. And have that one ready. Okay. Blunt incurred severe liver, kidney, and brain damage when a fan surge killed 8 people and injured hundreds over a period of 40 minutes while the rapper continued performing. I mean, Travis Scott was having the time of his life up on that stage, having the time of his life. Okay, let's move on. Looks like the family attorney is, guess who? The infamous attorney Benjamin Crump. He says several other defendants egregiously failed in their duty to protect the health, safety, and lives of those in attendance at the concert. This is what Benjamin Crump said. The lawsuit is seeking for more than $1 million for the defendants' grossly negligent conduct, which allegedly included failing to have adequate security and medical staff on hand and stop the show. Blunt, who is believed to be the youngest victim of this calamity, had made the 4-hour drive to his favorite rapper with his dad, who recounted the nightmare ordeal on an online fundraising site. So, of course, we already know about Ezra Blunt, but here is father and son. They're at AstroWorld because you can see Travis Scott's head right there. But now the family has filed a $1 million lawsuit against Travis Scott and the promoters of AstroWorld. Okay. This boy, like I said, is on life support still as we speak. He was trampled on, severe brain damage, swelling of his major organs. I mean, this kid, woo, and he is now on life support. Okay. David, you were going to say something.
Yeah, so for the father, they ended up, and this happened to several of the victims, they ended up confirming that he passed out due to a heart attack because of the surge of the crowd, creating, more pressure by not letting him breathe, pressing up against everybody. So it actually triggered a heart attack in him, and that's why he passed out, because he had a heart attack due to the crowd surge. Yeah. And obviously, you just said what happened to his child, unfortunately, after he dropped him. And he didn't even know where his child was when he woke up. So,
yeah, he woke up and the surge was so crazy, like what Liliana Lopez said in my interview with her. Please go check it out because she says a lot of really great things, shocking details about how she was ripped away from her family because the surge was so intense, right? Because the bodies were moving this way and that way and backwards and forwards and sideways, that if you had a death grip on somebody's hand, you would still get ripped away. You still will get torn apart from that person. That's how great and that's how mighty, right, that surge and that wave was. It's sad. Sneezing. Man. Anyway.
Just trying to hide the tears.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I heard about this story, it did break my heart. Real talk. Man, sorry. Woo. Okay. I just had to sneeze today. It's still heartbreaking still to this day. I mean, you go to a concert thinking that everything's going to be okay, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how rowdy or how intense, how much raging goes on in a concert. You still believe that there's going to be places where you can safely stand, right? With your 9-year-old son or with any person. Forget age, just any person. You think that you're going to be in a safe place or that you can find refuge. You can find salvation, safety if things go a little, if things get a little rough, right? You can at least walk away. You can at least distance yourself from a mosh pit. You can at least walk out of a situation, right? People would be safe and conscious of each other's presence, right? And unfortunately, this situation didn't happen like that. It's terrible. Now, David, you were going to tell me, you were going to tell us about another person is now brain dead, correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Let me get that. Let me get that article really quick because I know you sent that to me too. Sorry, man. Go ahead. Tell the story, please.
All right. So this one was a 22-year-old college student who has just been declared brain dead. Her name is. Let me make sure. There it is. Her name is Bardi Shahani. She was a student at Texas A&M, and she's been in critical condition and on a ventilator at the Houston Methodist Hospital since the concert. They haven't had any brain activity since that day, and they're just recently pretty much said that she is confirmed to be brain dead at this point, and that her chances of survival are nothing. So basically, this is coming out because the doctors realize there's nothing they can do for her at this point. So doctors told Shahani's family that she experienced multiple heart attacks during the crowd surge. And like we just said, that happened to Blunt's father as well, unfortunately. And so what was happening is the density of the crowd was not allowing people to breathe. That's what was triggering these heart attacks. But that also means that some of the smaller people, unfortunately, couldn't breathe at all. And so she had 10 minutes where she did not have any oxygen. And then there was another 7-minute period where she had no oxygen as well. And it caused her brain to swell almost to double its size. So her family member describes the concert as being a sinkhole, saying that once one person fell, people started toppling like dominoes. People were falling on top of each other. There were layers of bodies on the ground, like 2 people thick. We were fighting to come up to the top and breathe to stay alive. She adds, I want people to understand what we experienced and to make sure nothing like this ever happens to anyone again. And they've set up a GoFundMe to help cover their medical costs, though unfortunately, like I said, it doesn't seem that she will improve at any point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're brain dead, you're brain dead, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that how it goes?
Yeah,
right.
Pretty much.
There's no real turning back from that. There's no bouncing back from that. Correct. So now we could basically say, I hate to say it like that. I hate to be that person, but we do have another casualty here. So now it's 9. I mean, unless a miracle happens, right? Unless there's some sort of miracle drug or something of that sort, until the family basically decides to pull the plug. I mean, that's basically what they got to do. If she's brain dead, they basically have got to pull the plug. She will be number 9. She'll be the 9th person that has died because of this festival. Another person, Bardi, I guess is her name, correct? Bardi?
Yes.
Shahani. Bardi Shahani, a Texas A&M student. We could basically say that she is not here anymore. I hate to say it like that and sound calloused. I'm not trying to be. But when you have people saying that you are brain dead and there's 0 chance of recovery, Now it's up to the parents. Now it's up to the family to make the decision whether to keep her on a ventilator or to pull the plug. So that's number 9. And God willing, Ezra Blunt does not become number 10. But I am hopeful. They say his recovery is going to be up in the air, but like I said, you never know. It's going to be very touch and go. But right now, Barty Shahani, college student from Texas A&M, I mean, she's been pronounced brain dead.
And I mean, appropriately, with a lot of this stuff, Travis Scott is getting more heat because of he encouraged the surge in the first place. And so he's getting more heat. There's been some venues that have canceled with him, and obviously not as significant, but most of his fans, it seems, have been going through his videos and disliking them and everything because the like ratios have dropped considerably and the dislikes have grown. So presumably those new dislikes came from people that previously were fans, since the drop in likes is so significant. I mean, it's not like concrete data, but it does show that people who previously enjoyed his music are trying to hold him responsible for his actions. And I think that's a good thing. The more heat that there is on Travis Scott, the less likely it is somebody will encourage violence in their audience again, at least to this degree. So, I mean, I don't know if that's really a positive to this, but unfortunately, it'll at least prevent it, hopefully, in the future.
I mean, yes, it just sucks that when this is this time where we learn from the mistakes in a mortal, morbid type of way, right? I mean, you look at I hate to you say these people's names again, but you look at the Brian Laundrie, Gabby Petito situation, right? We are taking more effort. We are making more effort to find missing persons now, right? Because of that whole case. Because somebody brought something up and said, hey, this doesn't make any sense. Why are we always focusing on, that one person, right? And we only focus on that one person. But now there are more and more because of that statement. Now we are having more and more conversations about these missing persons, whether they are 2 years old or 2 weeks old. We are now focusing on those things, right? But it's almost like it's that whole thing of what is it? To make a few omelets, you got to crack a few eggs or something like that, something crazy like that. And it almost seems like this is the situation right here too, where it's like, you know what? I hate it. I hate even saying this, right? I hate even saying it like this. But the sad, harsh reality of it is that this is a wake-up call to all concert promoters, making them realize, oh, wow, okay, maybe I need to stop doing, maybe we need to start really focusing on hiring the right people and caring about who is being hired, making sure they're fully qualified, whether they're medical or security. Because this goes to show you guys, more and more people, I mean, I hate to tell this harsh reality of it all, unless there are less, right? Unless there are less people that are going to get hurt or that are going to perish. I hope that this is the last person. I really do hope it's the last person. But the harsh reality is that there's a lot of people that are fighting for their lives right now because they went to an AstroWorld festival. And it's not because they caught the Rona, not because you see what I'm saying? Not because some of them, not because they took a bad, some tainted drug. It's because they just stood in a crowd and got crushed. I hope this is a huge reality, a huge slap in the face, sobering moment for every concert that comes out from this point on. They need to make sure they are well beyond prepared and not understaffed. Period. But my thoughts and prayers go out to the Shahani family. I can only imagine what that family's going through, how they're feeling. But she is brain dead, y'all. You could basically say she is number 9. She is the 9th victim of this tragedy. It's frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Now, there's some more information. And I also have the police press conference for us to check out. So for those of y'all who are watching, I see over 400 souls watching the show right now. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning to all of you. Please hit that like button down below. I'd love to see it go past 200 likes. So please send as much positive energy as you can on this particular show. That really mean a lot. And of course, do not forget to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you part of the Pascal Show family. Anyway, we got to go into this next piece. This is a part that really just this one really pisses me off, y'all. I'm going to say right now, I'm already pissed about this whole AstroWorld situation. I've had very interesting conversations and debates with a bunch of people because there are a lot of people that do feel some type of way about this. Some people feel like, blame Travis Scott. It is his fault. He done this, that, and the others, or blame the concert promoters and Travis Scott, right? And then there's some other people like I had Murphy Lee on the other day. Murph was like, yo, man, he didn't really know. He's on stage. He's performing. He can't see everything, which I do agree with. He's not going to be able to see everything. But you can't tell me he could not. There's no way he could have missed all of that was happening right in front of him. It just seemed a little strange, right? So, just the other day, I talked about how the 5-0, how HPD, Houston 5-0, went up to Travis Scott. The chief of police went up to Travis Scott and said, hey, the crowd is getting kind of rowdy. I'm a little concerned about this, y'all. Right? Well, he goes up, he performs his 40s. I thought he did like a 75-minute show or piece or something like that. Performance, something like that. I could be wrong with the numbers, but he did well beyond 40 minutes. Because a couple days ago, everyone was saying that he did about a 45-minute piece, 45-minute set. No, he did a lot more than that. Okay. So he went and did his thing. He did his thug thizzle, right? He performed all his stuff to make sure his piece was done so that his contract was, he fulfilled his contractual obligation, right? Did the whole show. Good night. Peace out. Love y'all. Right? Stay safe out there. How ironic. But then, after he stepped off the stage, he went and partied at a Dave & Buster's. Travis Scott partied with Drake after 8 died in AstroWorld crush and could now be sued for billions by 68 victims. I mean, of course, there's obviously the infamous video of him singing over a dude. And that guy, that young man, they say that it was a unconscious fan that was getting hauled out. No, that person was one of the 8 that had died. So, anger grew today as it emerged Scott went to a post-show party with Drake at a sports bar, Dave & Buster's, in Houston. Travis didn't know the severity of the situation when he arrived at the party, a source told TMZ. But a mass casualty event had been declared by the fire department 30 minutes before he finished his set. So you're telling me, I mean, it says it right here, baby. Right here. I just want to make sure I'm highlighting it for y'all in the nosebleed seats because I know the print could be really, really small. Okay. But you're telling me that Travis Scott had a conversation with 5-0, with the chief of the 5-0, HPD, okay? Right before he went on stage. He had a conversation with them, and 5-0 was like, yo, I'm a little concerned about how rowdy it is out there. Out here in these concert streets right now, things are getting a little rowdy. And it might be a little too insane right now. Travis Scott heard about this, ingested that information, still went on that stage and did his damn thing. Right? Having the time of his life while other people are getting crushed. He helps one person. He stops. To his defense, okay, we can't throw him all the way under the bus. Maybe we could throw a leg under there. You know what I'm saying? But not all the way, not the whole body under the bus. But there is one moment where he does stop and say, hey, there's a guy right here. Everybody back up. Yo, chill. Let him get him. And then they take that guy and they move him out of the way. And then the party ensues, right? The party continues. People are screaming at him, stop the show. He's like, what the hell is all about? Yo, hey, put up a middle finger. If you can hear me, put up a middle finger. So people do. So putting up a middle finger to him, I guess, signifies that everybody, that he doesn't need to stop the show. So he turns around to the DJ and says, hey, turn up the music. Y'all know what you came here to do. Then the beat drops. And then chaos continues. As people are screaming for their lives, he goes back and does his thing. Okay, so after he does the 50-plus minute piece set, he walks off the stage, jumps into a ride with his fam, who, by the way, people were okay. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry for going on this tangent right now, but I have to really quick. We saw it a couple days ago. We showed it to you guys live on this very show. They were showing TikTok videos near the VIP area where Kylie, Stormy, his daughter, some of her family members were in the VIP section. There were people passed out in front of them. Cops and paramedics came over and moved these people's bodies, right, so that they can assist them. Then suddenly, Kylie Jenner, Stormy, her sister, and all them Kardashians get escorted out of the concert. Where do you think Kylie Jenner and them went? They got escorted out before the show even ended. They were whisked away. Travis Scott gets into a car. What car is Kylie Jenner, at least, and Stormy going to be in? Why would they go to Dave and Buster's, of all things? Why? It's a video game spot. It's like a Chuck E. Cheese's for adults. So kids can go, you can drink there, you can do whatever, but the kids can play video games and all that, right? So you're telling me so that they got into that car, they drove over to Dave & Buster's, and Kylie Jenner didn't once say, yo, there's some people passed out right in front of me. Bruh, you're telling me that he didn't know nothing? He didn't know not a damn thing. Cops came up to him in the very beginning before the show. They said, yo, things are getting rowdy. This is crazy. It's bad. He says, I bet. He goes up and performs his show. Does the show. People are passed out during his show. He gets off the stage. While he's on there, his baby mama and his family members are escorted out with the quickness. They're the first to go before anything else could go bad. He gets into a car, drives off to a Dave & Buster's with Drake, and not once they had a conversation about people passing out in the audience. He didn't know? He didn't know any of this, so he's just enjoying a cocktail, playing Jurassic Park in a Dave and Buster's, having the time of his life and not even knowing that people were, man, come on now. They didn't even bother to come up to him. Like I said, I highlighted it right here for all y'all could see it in the nosebleed seats. Mass casualty event had been declared by the fire department 30 minutes before he finished his set. So you're telling me as he's walking off the stage, 30 minutes before he finished his set, it was already declared a mass casualty event. And he walks off the stage and nobody said nothing? Somebody make this make sense to me, y'all. I've been saying it, and I'm going to say it again. Math ain't mathin' with this one. You know for a fact he knew what was going on. He knew exactly what was going on. He's just playing dumb right now. He knew exactly what was going on.
I agree. It was already in all the news alerts at that time.
Like, what the hell, yo? For real? I'm sorry. Math ain't mathin'. This man knew exactly what was going down. 68 victims are now filing lawsuits. 68. And now they're saying they could lose billions of dollars. And I had shout out to Pocket Watching with JT. I did, bring in somebody who is an accountant, financial advisor, Pocket Watching with JT. The dude is a beast. Please go check out his YouTube channel. He is a beast. All right. He came correct with a lot of information, but you're going after everything that this man has, basically. Billions of dollars. I mean, I don't even think his business is worth billions of dollars. But if everybody and their mama goes after him as little as, let's just say, emotional distress because of seeing dead bodies or seeing people fighting for their lives, being traumatized for being even in the space, they are going to literally take every last dollar from Travis Scott or Travis Scott's LLC or business or whatever that he has, as far as that encompasses the business that he has built. I mean, this is insane, yo. Absolutely insane. I got another article here. And also there's something else too that I'm going to pull out here too. There's a press briefing that I'm going to show you guys here really, really quick. But there's this other title I want you guys to see because it just adds more. It throws another log and a whole bunch of gasoline, into this fire. Okay. It says right here. Oh man, there we go. It says Houston police blames Travis Scott for not pulling the plug on AstroWorld concert. Video shows cops filming rapper's show nearly 30 minutes after it was declared a mass casualty event. So like I said, even 5-0, we saw that security, that woman who was hired for security, right? And she broke it down where she was like, there were people just, doing a little snort, you know what I mean? Doing a little nose candy. And 5-0 was standing right there. And they just both looked at each other. 5-0 and her, who was posing as security, just sat there and just shook their head. Didn't even do anything. There's another story where apparently there was somebody holding up a sign saying LSD for $15. I kid you not. There's another person out here, another concert goer, that said, as we were walking into the concert, there was somebody holding up a sign, LSD, $15. You don't think anybody would have stopped that? And Manda H, yeah, you know, without a doubt, he got a plug in Houston. Travis Scott. They asked him to stop, and he did nothing. They didn't do anything. So I'm going to show the press briefing here in a second, but When asked about the timing of the police response, Feiner said the investigation is in its early stages, and that he was not going to discuss timelines. Now, I'm not trying to throw the chief of police under the bus, but so you're telling me that the chief of police, Chief Troy Feiner, or Finner, I don't know if it's Finner or Feiner, but he goes over to Travis Scott. He is the law, right? He says, "Yo, man, this is some stuff is getting really serious right now, man. It's getting really rowdy out there." He has the right. He could easily go up to him and go, "We need to shut this thing down. We are shutting this thing down. It is too rowdy." He could have done that. But Chief Feiner is saying, no, we just gave him a heads up and then ish hit the fan. But hey, I'm not going to discuss these timelines because it's still under investigation and we don't have all the timelines right, blah, blah, blah. Video and photos show cops walking around and pulling out their cell phones to record Scott's performance after a mass casualty event was declared. Feiner, who said he did not have a close relationship with Scott and had only met him twice, said whether or not the show went on was not up to the police. What? See what I'm saying? Like, I really am trying to put this all together to make this make sense. But it doesn't make sense. Because if you're 5-0 and 5-0 is there to serve and protect, and you see a room or a space or an event filled with people going crazy, and you instantly go, ooh, I'm not feeling right on this. Wouldn't you do everything you can to make sure to ensure people's safety? Wouldn't you just shut the mug down instead of just doing more? Then, this is the other part that I found very interesting. Feiner also walked back on claims that a security guard was pricked in the neck with an illegal substance while trying to restrain someone. Now he's saying that the guy was struck in the head. He woke up in a security tent. He says that no one injected him with drugs. I'm just saying, like, look at this. Does this make, like, look, I'm highlighting this mug so you guys can see it. Does that make sense? He went to a press conference and he said, dude was pricked in the neck with opioids and that they had to use Narcan to revive this man. Now they're saying he was struck in the head. David, go ahead. What?
Yeah. I was trying to look into this one. This part is weird, but so from what I can tell, their story has changed a little. Like you said, they said they applied what was it, Narcan or whatever to get him back. But there was rumors. They may be true, honestly, but I don't know. But there were questionable rumors that were showing or saying that there were people out there with like fentanyl needles running around and jabbing a whole bunch of people. But this is as far as I know, this is the only individual that was claimed to actually have been injected. So I'm not really sure if this like rumor confused them or if they are just straight up changing their story for some reason. But it does seem odd that they would well, it both seems odd that they got it wrong, and then it seems odd that they would change it. And so I don't know.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, my brother. But why? Why would one muck that up? Like, you got to remember, though, too. Oh, my God. Oh, you got me. This is getting me hot. Okay. You are the chief of police. And you're telling some information that you are not 110% sure on? So you go into the freaking press briefing For everybody to know, everyone's sitting there worried about their loved ones, wondering what happened there and all this stuff. And all of a sudden you blurt out of your own mouth, you are the chief of police again, but you blurt out, oh, somebody got pricked in the neck with a needle that had opioids in it. He was revived with Narcan. You said that with your own mouth. Now it doesn't exist anymore? Why would you say that if it's not fully true or you don't have the full facts yet? Why would you say that ish? Because then when you retract it, it sounds like you're lying. I'm sorry. Does that make sense? Now I feel like what you say now is just kind of, now you capping. Right, David?
I think so, maybe. I don't know. This whole thing is weird.
But that's what you just said there should not be coming out of your mouth when it comes to talking about any police department in any city. I'm sorry for saying that. Not trying to throw any shade towards any police department, but here it is. When you say something like that, you shouldn't be saying that. You know what I mean? No one should be saying that about their police department. Ever. You see what I'm saying? How can we trust what they're saying if they're saying, like I said, I'm getting hot, man. That just doesn't make any sense. But please, David, continue. I do not mean to interrupt you. It just frustrates the hell out of me because it makes 5-0 look bad. Go ahead, my brother.
Yeah. So like I said, I did look. There's no other verified claims of people being injected with fentanyl, or however you say it. I don't really remember. Fentanyl. So I don't know. The fact that they changed the story, because I do think if a random person injected the police officer, they would have been rounding up a lot more people. So if there was an overdose of fentanyl or anything like that, it may have came from him using it. But at the same time, I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me. If they had a reason to think there was an elevated degree of fentanyl in his system, I mean, if no one was injected and with that, and then they found out that he was the one doing it on his own time, I could see them changing their story to kind of cover that up.
So you know what? That's a good theory right there, David. That maybe he was straight up using, that he was on it, and that he maybe really did OD, but he was doing it because he was like, yo, I'm at a Travis Scott concert. Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to do anything. Let me just get high real quick. Let me just get high on my own supply real quick. And then whoops, I had a little bit too much. Now it's like, no, I was struck in the head. How convenient of a situation, right? How convenient. Like I said, this type of lack of, I don't know, this lack of the lack of information, the poor choice of making that statement out loud and then retracting it later makes them look sus. Makes them look sus as hell. And it shouldn't have to be like this. We always want transparency, right? But then when you say something like this, like more than ever, 5-0 needs to be spot on, especially when you got a situation like this where 8 people have died. Well, sorry, soon to be 9 people have died. You have to be transparent. But when you are transparent, you need to make sure every T is crossed and every lowercase j is dotted up in this piece. But when you do something like this and make an announcement like this, it is a very, very bad move. It's a very bad look. And it makes you wonder, what are they hiding? And they might not be hiding anything, but errors like this make people conspiracize. Okay? and makes people's wheels turn to start thinking of, oh, they're in cahoots with each other. Travis Scott and the HPD are in cahoots with each other. They're just trying to save face on him and all that stuff, retracting this, that, and the third. Then him sitting there saying, oh yeah, we can't it's still under investigation, so we can't really talk about the timeline right now. Bro, you were having no problem talking about the timeline in the last press briefing that you had. Why can't you repeat the same issue said in the last thing, bruh? Just saying. Now you've made a very messy situation even messier by retracting information. You should have known better before you opened your mouth.
And I wasn't able to find this out either, but typically in instances like this, the police do not need to be present. I mean, it is a legal finding that they do not have to enforce the law at any point. So what happens in a lot of these cases, like at schools and stores and at some concerts I've been to, and I haven't been able to verify it for this, that they basically get paid by the store or the company or whatever. So Live Nation most likely paid the police to have a presence there at that time because they tend to refuse to waste their wages on an event if they can get money from it. That's pretty common. So it is very likely that the police were receiving money from Live Nation to maintain that small presence. And it's likely that that money will make them somewhat complacent and in the investigation of Live Nation, as well as Travis Scott. I mean, Travis Scott didn't pay them directly, but if Live Nation hired them, that's coming from the revenue he's bringing in. So he partially paid for it that way.
Like I said, we've heard many accounts, many different stories. There are more and more stories coming out as time goes on, where they're showing people who are out here just, obviously having a great time and kicking it. But at the same time, there are staff that were hired that were not prepared, that were not comfortable doing any of the jobs that they said that they were qualified to do. There were security guards that were just sitting there chilling in the cut, trying to get numbers and have a great time. They were getting paid to have a good time, basically. In fact, I also heard that the girl, the female security guard that I showed on here, that just broke it down, her experience and everything. She literally said she still hasn't been paid for her time. Still to this day, she has not been paid for her time as of yet. So, like I said, 5-0, Travis Scott, the promoters, the people that put together this whole thing have a lot of work to do. A lot of explaining to do, and Travis Scott is going to be losing a lot of money. But it's terrible when you hear story after story after story that happened before he went on the stage and even right after he walked off the stage. There are people out here that died. And this guy knew before he went on that stage that ish was going to hit the fan terribly. That this was going to be a that the crowd was on fire. And he took it to himself as so they're warmed up for me type of vibe. He went up, did his show. People died while he was doing his show. He walked off, had a cocktail, playing video games, and eating a burger at Dave & Buster's with Drake and his family, like nothing ever happened. And now they're sitting here acting like, oh, no. We didn't know. We didn't know that those things were happening. This is all new to us. Nah. He knew exactly what was going down. He knew exactly what was going down. And, yep, let the lawsuits rain down on him. I'm sorry. Let them rain down on him hard. because it's exactly what he deserves. Well, we got to jump into our next story because I know I don't have enough time, or I don't have a whole lot of time with David. But I wanted to jump on to this next story, and this is the part that this is going to be interesting. Okay, so not Travis Scott. Wow, I'm so used to saying Travis Scott for the past 5 days. Let me say this again. Kyle Rittenhouse took to the stand, y'all. Kyle Rittenhouse did something that a lot of, well, let's just say, you don't really see it very often, having the defense take the stand. Well, he did yesterday. Like I said, this is insane. This whole story is crazy to me. Okay. And they did the unthinkable. And yes, I know everybody is extremely polarizing. Everybody thinks either he is guilty or they think he's not guilty. Okay. But I do have a nice little recap from News Nation that I want to show you guys. I think they did a really good job of giving us a breakdown of his testimony. Let's take a look. Oh, and then the judge just goes off. Bruh. Let's take a look.
A lot to get you caught up on, including the story on the Kyle Rittenhouse trial out of Wisconsin. Rittenhouse, the 18-year-old, taking the stand in his own defense, breaking down while describing the moments he shot 3 people during a night of protests in 2020. The drama, though, did not stop with his tearful testimony. The judge sparring with prosecutors and the defense calling for a mistrial. Kelsey Kernstein live outside the courthouse in Kenosha. Kelsey, a big day for both sides in this case. So what happened and what do we know now?
Well, Adrian, it was an emotional day in the courtroom. It is not unheard of, but it is uncommon to hear from a defendant in a murder trial. Kyle Rittenhouse telling the courtroom what he remembered on that deadly night.
That's right, Ron.
Kyle Rittenhouse portrayed himself as wanting only to help others at the August 25th, 2020 protest. But when it came time for cross-examination by prosecutors, they brought up Rittenhouse's silence after the shooting. The judge lashing out, saying prosecutors violated Rittenhouse's right to remain silent after his arrest.
I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that.
The defense joining in with the judge.
I asked the court to strongly admonish him, and the next time it happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an experienced attorney, and he knows better.
Rittenhouse is charged with killing Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber during the racial justice protests with an assault rifle. Rittenhouse says he was only acting in self-defense.
Everybody that you shot at that night, you intended to kill.
This part is amazing. This part, he's been heavily trained. I'm going to roll that just a tiny bit back. This part is just, I was like, wow, he has been talking to some lawyers. Take a listen to this part.
Everybody that you shot at that night, you intended to kill, correct?
I didn't intend to kill them. I intended to stop the people who were attacking me.
By killing them.
I did what I had to do to stop the person who was attacking me.
On the stand, Rittenhouse claimed that Rosenbaum threatened to kill him twice before Rittenhouse shot him.
Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side, and I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski, and there were three people right there.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
Also in the testimony, Rittenhouse admitting to the jury that he knew Rosenbaum was unarmed, but shooting him anyway, calling his actions unjustified, saying, quote, "I didn't do anything wrong." Now, here in Kenosha, trial is expected to resume in the next few hours. If convicted, Rittenhouse does face life in prison. Adrian.
Okay. Okay.
Can I go first?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let me just do a little recap. Okay. So, of course, he is heavily, I mean, he's had some time, right, to be coached. This dude is clearly has been vetted fairly well, right, before he jumps on, before the trial. When they finally bring him in to testify, I don't know. To me, crocodile tears? I think it was perfect. It was a perfect opportunity, perfect time for him to let it all out right then and there. Let me say this really quick first, real quick, David, and then you got the floor. Okay, I promise you. I know I talk a lot. Welcome to the show. But one thing I'll say is that I don't think that his tears, that his crying was not real. I do think that his crying was real. I just think it was really beautifully blocked. It was beautifully choreographed. It was beautifully put right then in the right time so that he can grab the sympathy of the jury. His breakdown, yeah, I'm sure he's sitting there. Let me be real. I don't think he sits here and goes, yeah, I'm really glad that I shot up and killed a whole bunch of people. No, he's a young kid. I do think that he is sad for what he has done, right? To a certain extent. I mean, unless you're a freaking sociopath, any person who takes a person's life. I mean, I can only imagine if you are a normal, caring, thoughtful human being, you're going to be crushed emotionally, right? But it just seemed like it was beautifully choreographed right then and there. Let me cry really quick so that so I can get the sympathy of the crowd, sympathy of the jury, and of the court. Then all of a sudden, after he breaks down, they go and take a 10 to 15 minute break so that they can reconvene and come up with their own stuff so the defense can come up with more stuff. Like, what? Clearly, this was perfectly choreographed to make this all go down, to get sympathy of the court. David, please.
All right. So the first thing I do want to address is the prosecutor, because he's been getting heat since day one from multiple law sites. He's kind of broken several procedures. He brought up information from TikTok that was not vetted and not approved for the audience. Bringing up the fact that he remained silent is a problem, because it's suggesting that he's trying to hide information when this is one of the natural rights and protections of the individual. The prosecutor also forgot to bring up one of his charges during his point, which is pretty funny in a way. He completely forgot one of the charges that he was charging Rittenhouse for, so that one's gone. And he's been doing things like that, bringing in information that is not filed for the witnesses and things like that. But so several law sites think he's trying to throw this because he is a young prosecutor and he has been focused on his career, and a loss is considered much worse than a mistrial. So that's what they think he's trying to do here, especially since two of his witnesses turned against him.
What if he was paid?
Maybe.
What if he was paid to throw this off? Real talk. Think about it.
Yeah, but
he is sucking so hard. The prosecutor's sucking so hard. I'm like, this dude gonna walk. You keep messing up like this. This dude going to walk with nothing, not even slap on the wrist. David. Right.
So, like I said, if he has a loss instead of a mistrial, it's going to make him much harder to get another jobs as prosecutors and such. So basically, his behavior being atypical. Basically, because like I was trying to say that his witnesses turned against him, which pretty much ruined his case from the start. So he had one person, there was a black guy there that was part of the protest who was watching the incidences, and he described Rosenbaum as being incredibly aggressive to everyone, he also confirmed, he was one of the witnesses that confirmed that Rosenbaum promised to kill any of the individuals he found alone. And then the other witness that turned pretty much against the prosecutor was the third person that Rittenhouse shot. That person that he shot stated that Rittenhouse had mostly been performing his activities as a medic, and that he did move a dumpster out of the street. And he said that Kyle only shot him because he pulled out his gun and aimed it at him. So that the prosecutor literally facepalmed at that point when his witness said that Kyle shot him in self-defense. And he also went on to state that he chased after Rittenhouse because he thought he was randomly shooting into the audience, and he had no intention of killing him. But because he aimed the rifle, he believes that's why Kyle shot him. And we also got to see some new videos from earlier in the trial. So basically, we were able to track Rosenbaum from the beginning to the end. So he was originally in that crowd, screaming the N-word at people, threatening to kill any of the guys at the station if he caught them alone. And they were defending a place that was right next to a business. It was a black-owned car business that had been burned down mostly. They lost several $100,000s. So the place they were defending was actually right next to that. And so according to the person he shot, he came out to help people, but some of the people on the BLM side wouldn't allow him to treat those individuals. We also see that he did in fact pull a dumpster out of there. At that point, Kyle goes off to, after trying to help a few people, he goes back to try and get to his group. And at that point, Rosenbaum hides behind 4 vehicles. Mind you, Rosenbaum promised to kill them if he caught any of them alone. So he's hiding behind 5 vehicles. And then this is all aerial video. And then you see Kyle walking down him. Rosenbaum runs out and says something to him. They have a brief verbal exchange for about 10 seconds or so maybe. And then Kyle takes off with Rosenbaum chasing right after him. And the original witness, the black guy that was there as part of the protest, states that Kyle did not fire until Rosenbaum lunged at him and reached for his gun. And we do know Rosenbaum has a strong history of violence against children and the like. So
he doesn't know this. Let me just say this really quick. Let me interject. Not Rosenbaum. Kyle Rittenhouse doesn't know this. He doesn't know his rap sheet. He just knows that this guy is trying to lunge at his let's just say allegedly lunge at his gun, but shoot him 4 times and 1 time in the head. Is that really that necessary? He threw a bag at him, and he said, "Oh, I thought it was a chain," but the chain didn't have the weight. You know what I mean? Didn't sail like a chain does. It was a plastic mother-loving bag.
Right, but the bag didn't have anything to do with the shooting. The shooting happened because he caught Rittenhouse and lunged at him. It was at that point that he fired. He didn't fire when the bag was thrown. He ran away. He was still running. It was when, according to the witnesses, this wasn't according to Kyle, this is according to the witnesses, when he lunged at the gun is at that point that Kyle fired, and he fell down. So that was from the BLM witness. And then the person that he shot, like I said, stated that Kyle was there helping people and that he only got shot because he pointed a gun at Kyle, that the second person only got shot because he hit Kyle with a skateboard near the head, and that Rosenbaum was being incredibly aggressive to everyone on both sides. He wasn't there as part of BLM, it seems. He was just there to scream the N-word and threaten to kill people and then ambush somebody alone. I mean, this is a chain of events. Rosenbaum comes up, starts screaming violently at people on both sides, tells Rittenhouse that he'll kill him if he catches him alone, hides behind a set of vehicles to catch Kyle alone, starts chasing Kyle, lunges for his gun, and then gets shot. And like I said, it's not surprising. I was bringing up the fact that he does violence against children because he has a history of attacking people who can't defend themselves. He doesn't have a history of fighting people that can defend themselves. He almost always goes for weak targets. And so he set up an ambush, which is recorded on the video, to get the weakest target in that group and then chase them down. So that's why Rosenbaum is being considered that, because he stated he wanted to kill him. He hid to catch him alone, and then he chased him, and then he went to grab his gun to kill him. So he shot him, and that's when the third witness that got shot said that they didn't know what happened. They thought that Kyle was randomly shooting a bunch of people because, as you recall, there was a shot right before Kyle did as well. No one knows where that bullet came from. It was not from Kyle or from Rosenbaum. So someone else in a different area was having a shooting at the time. Because, like I said, they were right next to a black business that had been burnt down and vandalized. There were several others like that. And so the violence there had already been fairly active. I mean, you can even look at the videos of the incident. There's lines of black people defending their own homes during the same incidences, because this is kind of like what we saw in Minnesota, where the news claims that it was mostly BLM there to, promote BLM. But what we saw in Minnesota was there were a lot of there's a lot of biker gangs, one of them a definite white supremacist biker gangs that were there for BLM, but they were the ones burning down all the black businesses. And so this was part of the act to protect that. Because like I said, all those cars had been vandalized, set on fire, and the building was taken out. So after that, and mind you, all of his victims are white. Some people don't seem to be aware of that, but all of his victims, the ones he shot, are white.
Still doesn't matter. I mean, it was people out here protesting on behalf of somebody who was shot. The racial injustices that go on in this place. I mean, yes, they are all of them that were shot were white, absolutely. But at the same time, Kyle Rittenhouse represents something much bigger than just the fact that he shot a bunch of white dudes, right? This is a situation where this guy shot people. Forget the race. These were people that were out protesting on behalf of Jacob Blake, on behalf of the social injustices that go on out here in these streets, that people have to fight for their lives or literally have to fear for their lives whenever they get pulled over. That's what they were out there doing. The thing is that this guy got a gun because he thought it would look cool. He went and got a rifle because he thought it would look cool. AR-15 because he thought it would look cool. He said it his own self, okay? Because he could not get a handgun because he is not of legal age. He goes across state lines, gets the gun, and goes out and tries to find some action. He gets exactly what he asked for, okay? So he sits there. He's in this trial. He's telling everything, regardless if this guy was aggressive or whatever. This guy did not have a weapon on him.
Okay.
He used deadly force. He admits to taking deadly force on an unarmed person. Period. Doesn't matter if this guy has a track record or a rap sheet as long as my body. This man was unarmed. He said threatening words. Hold on.
I haven't even finished.
Threatening words. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know you. I thought you were done. But here it is. He said threatening things. He said some things. And the only reason why he shot other people while he fell on the ground and started popping off a few rounds is because of what happened with Rosenbaum. It all starts and ends with Rosenbaum. If he had not shot that man 4 times, including 1 time in the head, we would not have this trial right now. Go ahead, David.
Okay, so basically, they're considering Rosenbaum's threat legitimate because you can kill somebody fairly easily with your hands, especially someone that's smaller than you, especially since he was lunging for the gun, as the witness confirmed. So, he has a history of putting people in the hospital without any weapon. So, and he was incredibly aggressive. All the witnesses said he was aggressive. So if somebody tells you they're going to kill you if they catch you alone, and then they hide in an alley to catch you alone and then start chasing you, you should assume that they're going to kill you because everything they've done suggests that they're violent. They're telling you they're going to kill you. It'd be very strange to me to ignore someone that says they're going to kill you and then chases you. I mean, what were his other options? To throw the gun away and just let himself get beat? But either way, so witnesses on both sides, like I said, this guy wasn't there helping black people. His girlfriend said she had no clue why he was there because he has no involvement in things like that. So like I said, the same thing we saw in Minnesota. A lot of white people jump into BLM to damage BLM, burn down black businesses, and get away with it because people are like, oh, they're there to support BLM. So obviously their attacks on black people were for the good of those people. And that was a problem that we've seen before. But in either event, people get the reason that is acceptable is because it's easy. It's not that hard to kill somebody with your hands, especially if he took his gun from him. I mean, we just talked about several cases where a guy killed a smaller person with their bare hands. That's exactly what that 5'6" dude did to Gabby Petito. And so anyway, because one of the person he shot is defending him, and the sole one of the strongest witnesses from Black Lives Matter is defending him.
Mhm.
Because that person also pointed out, like I said, Rosenbaum was screaming the N-word at everyone. It wasn't just white people, and he was threatening to attack everyone. It wasn't just white people. So I don't know. I think this is one of those dissonances, like where this case has become more political, just because people have associated Rosenbaum with BLM. He has to be a good person. Otherwise, Kyle may have did something right and defended himself against someone that wasn't there to protest Black Lives, wasn't there to, or protest for Black Lives Matter, as far as we can tell, as far as his girlfriend has told us, and as far as his history has shown us, and as far as his racist dialogue has shown us. So there's really no reason to assume that he was actually there for BLM. He just happened to attack somebody that was on the other side. And this is what we've seen with a lot of this violence in these protests. As it's been pointed out throughout the year, most of the time the violence at these protests comes from white guys pushed inside of the BLM that are just kind of hiding there to mess things up. So when you combine all that, we basically, it seems like we have one individual who is a blatant racist and blatantly aggressive and promises to kill somebody. And I mean, there's no reason to distrust somebody that says they're going to kill you. Then I just don't see an incident where it's going to make a difference, because he is allowed. That is part of his Rittenhouse community where he worked, and you are allowed to be wherever you want, and you're allowed to have your weapon with you. I mean, he's going to get a misdemeanor because he's 1 year under the age, but you're allowed to be wherever you want. It's the same thing as, say, I know some black guy is just in a sundown town, doesn't know it's a sundown town, or he doesn't really want violence. He's just got to go through there, and he packed his gun because he knows there's some racist people out there, and he knows that black people disappear in these areas. And then someone comes up to him and says, "I'm going to kill you," and then catches him alone and chases him. That guy's going to shoot him, and it's basically the same case where you take protection with you to a place that you need to be, or that you care about, or that you're moving through. And if somebody brings violence to you, you use it in that instance. It's not there to go and, like, say, shoot up a bunch of white people in a sundown town. It's there to protect them from those crazy white people that want to put them on a cross and burn them alive. And this isn't the exact same situation, obviously. But since we don't have any indication that Rosenbaum was there for BLM, the guy that was shot was mostly there to record it and to be a medic. He wasn't necessarily there to protest, he said. It doesn't look like most of the people that attacked him were engaged with BLM. They were just there during said protest, likely bringing violence to that protest, weakening the very fabric of BLM. This is why BLM became so very unpopular very quickly with a lot of white people, because and a lot of black people in the areas that were targeted. Because that's one of the interesting things is, if you look at places like Minnesota, a lot of the complaints about the protests are from black people complaining about white people infiltrating BLM to commit acts. Now, it's very possible Rosenbaum is a white supremacist himself, based on the things he's been saying in the past. We don't really know, but either way,
Or Kyle, but let's not,
Kyle.
Or Kyle. I'm just saying it.
Yeah,
Continue.
but
I'm not trying to interrupt you. Continue.
Right. So I don't know, between the BLM witness, the person he shot defending him, all the video evidence showing that he never engaged anyone until they caught him, because he didn't shoot Rosenbaum until he was caught. He didn't shoot the second guy until he fell over and was hit with a skateboard. And according to the third guy he shot, so the third guy said that he came up with his hands up and that Kyle ignored him. And it wasn't until he pulled his gun out and aimed it at him that Kyle turned and shot him. And he doesn't blame Kyle, he says, because even though he did not intend to kill Kyle, according to his own testimony, he pulled it out because he thought that was maybe what he should do. But I guess he was confused, or maybe he's lying because he doesn't want to look bad, saying that he did want to kill somebody, because there are allegations that he told his roommate he wished he had killed Kyle. But that was like right after the incident, and you can understand him missing half an arm, being incredibly angry about that. But what we're also seeing is that since he came to court, he has just been defending Kyle Rittenhouse for the most part. So as far as I see it, we have individuals screaming racist epithets that are not there for BLM, that are likely just causing destruction. who ambushed an individual and chased him and then got shot. And the other two were just individuals that decided to chase him. Like I said, the third guy thought he was an active shooter shooting a bunch of people because there had been other shootings going on at the same time in different locations. There were gunshots going on. So by the end of that, they thought that, as well as the other shootings, was Kyle just walking around shooting people, and that's why he chased him. So on top of that, every incident we see where he shoots somebody, he is actively being touched or threatened. And the third one, he's not being touched, but like I said, the guy said he pointed his gun at him, and that's why he was shot. So combined with that, there's no reason to assume that Rosenbaum was there to help anyone, to help BLM or to help anyone. But we know that he threatened to kill people while he was there, and we know that he promised to do it if he caught them alone, and we know that he went out of his way to catch them alone. I mean, we can probably find the video, but when I say he was hiding behind cars, he's literally hiding behind 4 cars, just kind of sitting there watching people going by, waiting and waiting, waiting for Kyle. And then that's when he comes out, when Kyle walks by, and that's when the incident starts. But yeah, I think that's everything. And I haven't watched the trial for the past day, so I didn't watch it yesterday. Everything I've said came from the days before that.
No, and that's fine. I mean, you know that you are bringing in the facts, you're bringing in the storyline and all that, and I do appreciate that. And a little bit, we will be discussing the Ahmaud Arbery trial on a later show for sure. There's been a lot of there's just been so much to cover, and there's only one me. So in one show, so we are trying our best to cover as much as we can. And I've been pumping my brakes about covering this Kyle Rittenhouse story, because I do feel some type of way about this whole thing. Now, I know that David feels different with everything, and David, you're totally have every right to be entitled to your own opinion. But my opinion is this: still, no matter what, if this kid did not cross state lines, go buy a gun, illegally be brandishing a gun out in these streets here, this situation would not exist. He did what he wanted to do. He bought a gun through a friend of his because he was not legally obligated or legally allowed, right, to own said gun. He goes, buys the gun, and then he goes and wants to go and protect the world. He wants to go and protect this one piece of area for some weird, strange ass reason. So then he goes out there. He's of course he's out there. This Kyle Rittenhouse thing could have been John Malkovich. It could have been anybody, right? Where this Rosenbaum guy was at him. Yes, the guy was crazed. I'm not going to sit here and say that he wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and say that the dude was entirely innocent. But at the same time, it was a situation of a guy getting shot several times, and one time in the head within those 4 shots. Then, of course, hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose after that situation. Now, let's be real. If he was not illegally brandishing a gun, if he was not legally holding a gun in his hand out there, none of these people would be dead. Not one. If he decided not to go across state lines and go buy a gun that looks, because it looks cool, he bought this gun, then go run around looking for action, like vigilante type style, none of these people would be dead right now. Maybe there would have been a situation. Maybe Rosenbaum would have lost his mind. Maybe Rosenbaum would have gone and done something crazy. Maybe you may be right. Right? You may be right that this guy was crazy, but we don't know that. We can't predict the future. We can't predict the future. We don't know all this. You know what I mean? We can't. So, for me, it's like, what I can look at and what I've saw, right, from the videos and all that. And of course, there's the drone shot and all that stuff showing footage of what went down and everything. Yes, I could see how how Kyle was scared. But at the same time, this situation would not have happened if he didn't go grab the gun from his friend's house, unbeknownst by his friend that he bought, ran out into the streets, and try to be Frank Castle up in this piece. Real talk. We do have a super chat. I can't pull it up. Actually, let me just pull it up really quick because I'm tired of seeing this crocodile tear type ish real quick, and then we'll continue here. Where is it? Let me get it really quick. Oh, come on. Where is it? And for those of y'all who are watching, I appreciate all y'all. Please do not forget to hit that like button down below. I mean, you know, we talk about all kinds of stuff on this show, even the hard stuff, Sweet Indigo, thank you so much. Sweet Indigo 45, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. She said in one of your last broadcasts, you asked if he was fake crying. Well, I didn't ask. I put it in on my Twitter. So it was on my Twitter, but we are talking about it right now. So I see that he was looking for support from the judge. I think, he was faking it. And that, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And that is the question, do you guys think he was faking that or not? Do you think that came from a real place, a real genuine place? Or do you think that was him just trying to grab sympathy? I personally think that he was trying to grab sympathy. Forget if you agree with it or not. Forget if you think he's innocent or not. Do you think he honestly felt like do you think he was crying? That he was really crying? Or do you think he was just, this is the time to unleash it? Because they're asking me questions and I need some time to think about some stuff. I need some time to think about how I'm going to say these things. Fake cry. You see what I'm saying? So comment down below. Oh, also, please follow me on Twitter. The Pascal Show, one word. All right? Please, because I'm posting a lot of stuff on there now, too, as well. David, go ahead.
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as crying goes, I don't know if he was faking. I mean, it kind of looked legit to me, like when you're trying not to cry and you are. But either way, it's not necessarily a sign of innocence or guilt. I mean, there are people that perform other acts of self-defense. I mean, police, soldiers, individuals, and everything. Even when the law and morality argues that they're justified, they still have intense negative reactions. I've mentioned this book before, but it's a book called On Killing. It goes really in depth into the psychological impacts of having shot people and the kind of ways that people respond to it. It's not just about PTSD. It's more generally about how killing affects individuals and how someone trying to kill you affects you as well. But either way, it does establish that, even people that did a premeditated murder and individuals that killed in crimes of passion or to defend themselves, they do tend to have the same reactions unless they're a sociopath. It's naturally against human instinct to kill another human being, even if it is to survive. We see this in the wild with most other animals. So while I don't think the tears themselves mean anything about innocence or guilt, I do think they're probably true. It's just a natural human response. But it's not indicative of anything deeper than that.
I think that when it comes to this, I said my piece earlier, I do think that it was crying, but I think it was just properly placed in the right time. That's what I think. I think it was crocodile tears adjacent. I don't think that he literally was sitting here going, oh, okay. Like I said, I think it was just properly choreographed. Perfect timing. This is everything here is awkward. I can't answer all these questions right now. Let me start crying so that I can get some sympathy and some time to breathe. And that's exactly what he got. He got 10, 15 minutes to breathe, reconvene with his team, and try to figure out how he's going to finesse his way out of this whole situation, being sitting at on the stand. I just, like I said, This one's a tough one. Okay. This one's a tough one. Period. I think no matter what, he should get a slap. Like, not the slap. Sorry. He should not be getting just a slap on the wrist. That's what I think. I think that he consciously bought a gun. He consciously asked his mama to drive him across state lines to drop him off so he can go and get him some. That's what I feel in my heart of hearts. The situation happened where, because like, why? Isn't that the whole thing? Like, you don't pull out a gun unless you intend to use it, right?
So with concealed carry, yeah, but with
Right.
he was doing it under open carry, so you're not allowed to cover it whatsoever. It
But
has to
there's
at
no,
least be on your chest
but
or your
here's the
back.
thing. But here's the thing. If he didn't want to bring any harm to anybody, he shouldn't have had the gun in the first place. Period. He could have had a knife. He could have had any other type of weapon. He could have had a bat, anything. He was illegally holding a gun. Illegally. He knew that he was not allowed to have the gun. He stole it from his friend's home and then ran out into the streets and started doing all this stuff. Like, for me, it all starts from there. It starts at the root of everything, right? Then, of course, he runs into a crazed lunatic and everything goes to okay? Fine. But at the same time, everything starts with him going, I'm shopping for a gun. Let me get this AR-15. This one looks kind of cool because it looks cool. And he knows the law. He knew that he couldn't get a handgun. So he goes, well, let me just get it. Let me get an AR-15 then. So he goes and gets the AR-15, crosses state lines, walks around with it. Like I said, this should not be a debate.
I do have to be going here, but
right.
I just want to say one more thing. So I don't know. I do carry a concealed weapon at times to protect myself if anyone decides to bring violence to me, because I'm allowed to go wherever I want. And I think that's something, because we've been seeing how violent these people can be, and you should be willing to defend yourself. But regardless, the violence didn't start because he had a gun. The violence started because he was attacked. The violence ended because he had a gun. So, there's no reason. The violence began either way. So we have Rosenbaum that promised to kill any of them if he caught them alone. He just caught one alone that had the rifle. And you're allowed to protect yourself. You can carry a gun wherever you want. And if somebody attacks you for being anywhere, for saying, you're allowed to defend yourself. There's absolutely nothing in the world that says you should not be in Wisconsin if there's a protest going on. But everything says that you can defend yourself if somebody attacks you.
Good point. Good point. You have a point right there. You have a point. You do have a point right there. You do. And of course, if you feel like he feels he feels like it was full on protection. And I've heard other people, right, that have talked about this, saying, hey, this is full on protection. He was protecting himself even before. This is self-defense before the trial even started. A year ago, when this whole thing was, hot on the press, we talked about it. But for me, I still look at it like I still cannot wrap my mind around the root. And I think that he didn't, and I get it. Anyone can go to any city and be at a protest or protect businesses in that city. Anyone can. You have the right to travel wherever the hell you want. But none of this would have happened if he wasn't holding an illegal weapon, running around in these streets.
Wouldn't happen if people were breaking curfew either.
That is true too. That is very, very true too. That is very, very true. But like I said, no matter what, I do think that this kid's going to walk. And it sucks because the prosecution can't seem to get their ish right. They can't. And that's one part that's really sad because it's not like prosecution is even giving it's not even like prosecution has a fighting chance right now, which is very annoying. But hold on real quick. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Openly avoidant. I love hearing respectful differences of opinion on these matters. Thank you all for having a genuine conversation without being pushy. Much love. Well, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And I appreciate you just willing to sit, like all you guys, willing to sit and have this conversation, right? And hear these thoughts, But David, I know you got to jump off, so I want to say a big thank you for being on. We may not agree on everything all the time, but I do appreciate you coming in and spitting these facts, though. Real talk.
Yeah, man, it was an interesting discussion.
It definitely was. Definitely was.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
All right, it's a great show. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Or I guess I'll see you guys next week. I actually won't be on tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right, so take care, everyone. Peace.
Talk to you, man. Peace. But yeah, like I said, I mean, this is, it is a tough conversation, right? Because everyone has opposing views. Everyone. Some people agree with this and say, "Hey, man, bury him under the prison. Let him get the full extent of the law, many, many years." Like they say, he could be facing, if found guilty, he could be facing up to life in prison. You look at this situation in my personal opinion. I've said it a million times before, but this was a kid running around with a deadly weapon. I just feel like the situation would have been different if it was someone who was more experienced with weapons, and not just some young kid running around out in the streets trying to have some fun. Well, trying to find some action, not fun, but find some action, putting yourself in harm's way like that. It's a tough conversation. And we're never going to get like the full answer, which, because my side, the people who think that he should be found guilty, we're going to keep thinking what we feel, right? And then there's going to be other people on the other side going, no, he protected himself. Regardless of where you think he's, like, how you think he stands, like where he stands as far as, this whole Proud Boy, all this Proud Boy crap and all that stuff, you know what I mean? All the stuff that he's been involved with, right? A lot of people will instantly go, no, he should be guilty just because of his association with these terrible, terrible far right groups, right? So it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough. But I really, really do think that this kid's going to walk. And it's not going to be because they posed a very strong argument. It's going to be something that the prosecution does that jacks everything up. That's going to jack up the trial. That's what I think. Period. And then when he walks, we all have to watch where he goes next. Real talk. We're going to have to see what he decides to do with himself. Because he going to walk. If prosecution continues going down this route, they going to walk this dude. And here's the thing. Far right groups are going to be rejoicing up in this piece. And then they're going to be using this trial. They're going to be using this trial for any situation that happens. And that's what's so terrifying about it. Wait, hold on. I'm looking at a comment here. Yeah, Jessica. I think he's probably going to walk. He might get a fine, right? He might get a fine. He might get a slap on the wrist, but he's not going to get anything bad as far as like seeing time in prison, the inside of a jail cell, a prison cell. I really don't think. that he will be seeing that. If they keep going down this route the way they have been going down this route. And it sucks. Because like I said, I think that this kid is all kinds of bad. I don't care. I think he's all kinds of bad. I don't think he is a good example to use for any other protest, any other situation, because like I said, they're going to be using this any other time that there's a protest and somebody gets shot. But RR, I do think that he needs to be locked up. Absolutely. Not because he needs to be set as an example. No. I think what he did, he broke the law. He took people's lives. He was brandishing an illegal weapon, an illegal firearm. He was not of age to be able to have that firearm in the first place. He was walking around illegally with this stuff. I don't see it as self-defense. I really don't. I feel like there's other reasons and other ways he could have gotten around the situation. But because of him being so young and so wet behind the ears with weaponry and with tactical situations like this, I really do think that he made very, very poor choices because of being so young and being so underqualified to be holding that gun. That's what I truly think on the situation. And me and David will, agree to disagree a million times over on this situation because, like I said, this is not an easy story. It just isn't. It is not an easy one. But, of course, we are going to find out more information as time goes on. I mean, the story is still going on. The trial is still going on. And we will be covering some more information on that as time goes on. When they do make the final verdict, I will most likely be going live and doing a watch party, watching the verdict happen. Because, whether it is something that we like or do not like, we will be covering it. Because it's a piece of history that we all need to be a part of, and we all need to witness it together. As far as the Ahmaud Arbery trial, I will be covering some pieces on that as well, because there's a lot going on with that as well. It's insane. Some bombs have been dropped yesterday as well. Like I said, Wednesday, I don't know why the November 10th was so on fire, but it was on fire. It was on fire. So many pieces of information just dropped like bang, 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 bang. I'm telling you, it's insane, right? But, thank you guys so much for all being here and having the conversation with me, talking about all the stuff that we've been talking about, from AstroWorld to Kyle Rittenhouse. Obviously, the saga and the story must continue, and it will be continuing right here on the Pascal Show. When we get more information revolving all these particular topics, we will be talking about it right here. So if you haven't done it yet, I got to do it again. Hit that subscribe button, y'all. Crush that subscribe button. I appreciate all y'all. And of course, hit that like button before you leave. I'd love to see it go past 300 likes. That would mean a lot to me. It's hard to have these conversations. It's hard to have these open conversations. These are tough discussions, y'all. But I do appreciate that we have this room that we can sit down and talk about it. Agree to disagree, but actually listen to each other. You know what I'm saying? And have a real conversation on this platform. So please hit that like button. Send those likes past 300 likes. That would mean a lot. And of course, subscribe. If you want to join my Patreon, go to patreon.com/The Pascal Show. Support this show. That would mean a lot. Of course, we do have a join button as well if you just want to support the channel. I'm working hard out here in these streets to have these tough conversations with every single last one of y'all. So please do me a favor, hit that join button, or, go check out my merch page, thepascalshowmerch.com. I got some stuff out there that I'm sure will make you feel nice and cozy, in these cold winter months coming up here very, very soon. Anyway, it is time to get going. I appreciate all y'all. Again, love y'all. Be safe out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll be seeing you guys very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
You're going to perform tonight?
I can't make this interview boring because this man is too exciting as a host. And I'm truly saying this, and if y'all can't do this, me and this man here is going to leave and go somewhere else where we can get some love. I want everyone in the building to say, I love Pascal on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. For more information, call us now.
The Fur and Leather Center, providing the highest of fur and leather goods.